Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I have come with another important video on AI agents, and the category here today which I'm going to talk about is very popular one called chatbots. So we know that from the day when Gen AI has become popular, chatbots are also quite discussed in every field. So whether it's a customer support or we want to have some kind of internal queries or internal search requirements, people would like to use chatbots these days. Now, why they are popular? One thing is that the kind of search which we were doing earlier versus the kind of search which we are doing now is changed with our knowledge base, which is a RAG-based system on which I already made videos earlier. But if we combine that knowledge base with the mechanism to interact with AI, and that is like a conversational way, then it becomes a powerful combination, which is what everybody, whether it's a small scale business, large scale, or medium-sized business, every business is trying to try both for external as well as internal use cases. Now today I'll show you first a demo of one of the chatbot which I built. It's for a medical use case, and it's a dummy chatbot with a requirement like there is a customer who would like to come to the system and want to ask about their report, lab test reports, and that test reports is something which will be returned by a dummy API which I have built. Second is this, apart from that test report, this same user can also ask some generic questions, which is like okay, for a given a particular test, let's say diabetes. Okay, they want to know something specific about what are the ways to prevent, or what are the ways to have a better diet plan to make sure that we can prevent this from happening, or we can keep that diabetes under control. So these kind of general questions or some specific data for a customer, both of them would you would like to use and engage with the customer chatbot. So think of that, you go to some lab testing website and you interact with a human customer support, and there you ask question, okay, I given my lab test in the morning, can I get the report, and I would like to know what are the results for my blood sugar, or what are my results for my let's say liver profile or a kidney profile. So these are the things you would like to know, and that's where now with the AI coming into picture, these things can be very well handled by AI, and I will show you how, and you will see that it's a natural how humans interact with each other, means as a user interact with some human customer support, same way you will get the feel when I show you demo for a AI chatbot. So let's get started. So here's my screen where I am going to show you a chatbot first, and then I will explain how it is built. So let me start the conversation. So this is again the dummy data. So some name of the lab testing company, and then it just says I am your AI assistant and I will assist you with your AI with your queries on your medical report. So enter your phone number. So this, I have some dummy number 98765432210. So I have a dummy API. So again I will explain it when I talk about how I build it. So then I cover every part. So this is a demo. So now the data is validated. It says that your number is validated. It means it understands that I'm a registered user, and there could be another ways to register it. Then I go to and ask, okay, get me my latest iron reports. So I want to ask for I have done some lab test with this company, and what are the results of my iron test. So this again, if you see, it says these are the data which I have again printing it for just a system, basically for system perspective, but mainly if you see here, the response is here. So here what it is doing is it is calling the API because this is my lab test data. So the sample which are given to the lab. Now again, this is coming from the dummy API, but think of that as the real API which we can call through the chatbot, and it will give you data for your specific report. So this is what it is calling. It says, description, serum iron is high, total iron binding capacity is normal, and so on and so forth. So then I go to another one. I want to know about my renal level tests. So here it is going to check for the renal, which is a part of our basically kidney, creatine, and it now got a data for renal functional panel. So if you see, this is the different data. So it understands. So I can ask question anywhere. Okay, give me this report, or I want to know about my thyroid level. And if you see that the response is coming from the API. So it means AI is there, which is translating my response into something which is specific, which API can understand, because APIs only take fixed input. You can't give us some user-based input, right? So from the user intent, we have to extract the specific entities, and those entities we need to convert into, and I'll explain it when I show how it is built. And those entities we need to pass it to APIs by converting into the input parameters. Now let me do one thing. So these are the report specific queries. Now I want to know something generic. So I can ask, tell me how to prevent iron deficiency. Okay, so this is a generic question. So it is not specific to my report. Even I can go to Google and ask it. But since I have asked this a general question, so it will just say and get to if it knows. So there's the knowledge base part which I have given, and I'll show you how to provide a knowledge base. But if that knowledge base has this information, it will get it. Otherwise, it will just say, sorry, I don't have enough information to your question. So next, what I can do is, it did not return me any response, so I can try ask some other question. Can you explain me what is lipid profile? So let's see if it can get answered this time. So right, it's a general question. Okay, so it got an answer. It says lipid profile is a blood test that measures the levels of different types of lipids, which are fatty substances in your blood. So this is something which I have already knowledge base, and I'll show you in a moment. So the point is that we can control the behavior. It's not like we are using AI and AI can do anything whatever it likes to do. No. So we are controlling the behavior based on the user input. We are asking AI, okay, segregate this information, whether user is looking for a report data or user is looking for some generic information. And if it's a generic information, come back, use the knowledge base which I've given to you. Don't just make the answer. Okay, so we are not giving the freedom to AI and make something of its own. So that's it. That is where the knowledge base comes into picture. So now the question is how effective your knowledge base should be, and what should we do in case AI is not able to pick the right information. That's a separate topic which I have already made a video, and I'm planning to make few more videos on the RAG. But here this demonstration is about that couple of flows the chatbot is actually able to access based on a user input, and that the decision or the deviation from one flow to another is controlled by AI. So now let me go back to the how it is built. So I've used the Voiceflow, and I will show you how it is done. So first of all, so this is a flow. How do we start? So this one, there are few components given here, and we can we can think of the two actions. Whether I will take input, as an AI system I'll take input, or I will give a response back to user. Okay, so think of these as same. So when I say it says talk means system will talk, so the chatbot will talk. So then you need to give a text, or it should emit an image or something else, card or something. Similarly, listen means You can provide a button and wait for a user to give a input or click the button, or choices. You give a multiple choices and let the user enter one of the choice, or capture. Capture means user writes something, and whatever it writes, it captures, and you capture the entities from it, and we'll see that quickly here. So I'll demonstrate using what I already have here. So this is like a one set of functions. Then second part is intent. So what happens is whenever we use Voiceflow, there is a start of the, or a basic or a start flow, we can say, but we can also have any number of flows, and those flows can be switched from any point of time from one flow to another based on the intent. How do I do it? Let's say if you see here, I have a home and a start, and start is this complete flow, right? But at certain point of time, this flow will be switched to the different flow. So this is a personal report. So if it reaches here, it is switching either to personal flow or general health queries. So I have these two separate topics here. So it means I can go to personal report and create totally different flow without messing up my main flow. Now this is the part of whole designing of the workflow. When these days we have a no-code tools, and Voiceflow, which I'm trying to show you here, is a very popular one in building chatbots. So it's a no-code tool. You hardly write any code. I think I wrote one simple JavaScript function where I wanted to retrieve the JSON as a response from the API and format it into some specific string or a text, so that I can show it in a user-friendly manner. That's it. Otherwise, I did not write any code at all. I used all these components. Then this is the another flow I have called general health queries, and you can name it based on your requirement. So if you see, apart from the start, I have two more flows: personal report and the general health. Now personal report, let me cover this, and I'll come to the start again so that you understand how everything is tied together. So start flow is a basic flow where you greet a user, take an input, validate the user, and then say, okay, let me know what is your query, and then user starts asking the query. So once user asks the query, then AI has to figure out which flow I need to switch to, and that is what I'll show you a little later. But let me show you those main two flows, and then I show you how these two flows are tied, or how the main flow is switching between these two flows using AI. So personal report flow. In personal report flow, what is required? I have an API. User asking a query, get me my iron test reports, or get me my thyroid report. So I click the user intent. So here I use from the user input, when the user uses the word iron, thyroid, or kidney. So these are entities in the user input. So I have in this system, we have a way to create entities and intents. So what I have done is I have created one entity called profile test name, and this description is user input values of the health or medical report name, and then we can give some values here, like a kind of a default sample values, which system will understand. Okay, user will try to input something similar. These are all, and that is whether some part of training comes into picture. So, and then I go back to the main flow. Once I capture it, then I set the then I basically set the variable, because I want to call a API with a parameter. APIs, when we call, we have to pass certain parameters so that we get a response according to the request. So since this particular dummy API, I have 3 or 4 different flows, like I am showing here. Okay, if user is saying iron, then I'm setting the parameter name as iron_panel. If user is saying thyroid, then I'm using the this set function which says thyroid function, and because these are the parameter values which I need to pass to API. Otherwise, if I just pass thyroid, it will not understand, and I'll get a 404 error. So once I do this, then I call the API, and this is where they have provided the capability. So this is the API block. I just take it out and put the get request, success, and fail. So if API is called, you'll get a success. Yeah, after success, what you got response, that you have to handle. But if your API is called and you got error, then fail. So that's the simple part. Delete it here. And once API is called, what I do is I have to capture the response, and that's what I'm doing here. So API response I capture, and the good part here is you can use lot of variables to store information. What user says, you take out the entity, then you call the API, API gives you a response, store the data in variables and use those variables wherever you want. So for example, here I'm getting the response, so when I success it will call this block, and here what I'm doing is I'm trying to actually use this response. If you see here, response is the default variable which gets created automatically whenever you call API, and if API is giving you a result, whether it's the error result or successful result. So that response I want to store it in some variable which is what I created, and here I go and I can go to the variables and create any number of variables. So that's very simple, the way we define the variables in any programming language. Same thing, we just define the variables here. Next we come here, and if the response, and in the response I'm checking what is the value, like what is the value I got from API. So here this is the one place which I wanted to show you, where I wrote a JavaScript, because response, to process a response, it comes in a JSON format, and sometimes JSON could be hierarchical in nature, complex in nature. So it's not that straightforward to use the components and extract the information. So what you want to do is you write a code, and that's very easy in any language, whether it's a Python, JavaScript, Java, whatever language. So here this supports JavaScript, so I use the JavaScript to write the function which says format API response. I pass this response here, same variable which I used, and then I extracted the way I want to get the information, like a description, status, whatever I was showing you in the API call. It shows a status, a profile name, status, and then description. All that, everything was dummy data. And if here the format response is coming, in case I'm not able to parse the response, then it will go to the error block or a fail scenario. And if system has some issue, then what should happen? I still want to engage user, so I will go back to the main flow, which is the start flow, and I'll tell user I have some problem, like sorry, there's an issue in processing your request at this point of time, please try it again later, and then I say let me know if you have any other question. So the conversation should continue, not like system should hang. So it's like a loop. This is one flow. Second flow is general health, which is the knowledge base. So now for knowledge base, what I have done is I have taken one knowledge base file, basically the textual data, and in here we have option to go and like in the knowledge, here I uploaded one file. Just upload if you have PDF, if you have text, if you have some document, just take that. Basically you can think of that, okay, you have some text which you can dump it in something from the website. Let's say you want to use that as your knowledge base, just dump it in a Word doc or a text file and upload in a knowledge base. Now there are strategies how to put the data or how to feed the data to knowledge base system or RAG system. Here this system or this feature is already inbuilt, so it is just taking the files and doing it processing internally, and then giving you access for using the knowledge base in your query. But sometimes this could be efficient or not efficient, that depending on what kind of data you have and how it is structured. So that again, that's a separate topic. I am not discussing there, because RAG itself is quite vast, because it is the storage at the end of the day in a vector database, and there are a lot of strategies how we can improve while we store the data or extract the information, or what structure to use while we are storing or indexing the information. So I will not cover, and anyways this is not the scope of this particular tool. It does not let you to do any such thing. It just says, okay, there is a knowledge base, you dump your file, whether it's a PDF, doc or text, done. So this is, let's say I have a file, I uploaded it. Now I come here I will get I'll just say getting answers to your query. I just show the message, and what I do is last utterance. So this is again a variable which normally user captures. So look at this part now. So this is a response AI. So this block is a response AI from here. You can take it response AI. What I'm doing here is, so there are two kinds of AI kind of response and knowledge based kind of response. So this is the knowledge based kind of response, where I am giving the input as a last utterance. Means this is the question. User said I remember I asked tell me the ways to prevent iron deficiency, right? That is what I asked initially, and it did not give me the answer. It says, sorry, I don't have enough information to your question. Then later I asked, okay, can you tell me what is lipid profile? And then it gave me the answer. So what it does is, here you have to provide an instruction. So once you uploaded your file, text file, it is already there indexed. Now system, this whole voice flow component, it will use it, but because you're using the knowledge base, you give an instruction how, if you want to act on the data in certain way. So I'm just giving a very generic instruction: answer user's query from the given context. If given context is not relevant, given context is the context which is the knowledge base, and that it will load automatically, so we don't have to do anything about that. But if the given context is not relevant to the asked question, means I have a document which talks about a lot of medical profiles and their description and do's and don'ts, but then I suddenly ask, okay, tell me how to play cricket, or how many players are there in a cricket team. This is not relevant, right? So then I'm just saying that then you should reply to user like this, or you could not find question related to that. So whichever way is there. So again, these are instructions. We can always fine tune it, and we have to test these things, because this is how the AI comes into picture and respond to you. And once this is done, then it will give the answer and connect me back to the main loop, and that is where I go back. Now let me come to the main loop, or the main flow. So main flow is, after I done all the validation, these are just simple blocks where I take a user input and emit something. It means say something, or show something. Then what happens is, after that, once the phone number is validated, or it will, if it will not match because it does not exist, either of the scenarios will happen. So once it is matched, then I'll say, okay, let me know your query. So here I'm trying to say capture user intent. So here I've created an intent, and I'll show you what is that intent here. So intent is, for example, here is the user query. So what I'm trying to say is, I can create a content and I can tell that, okay, what kind of sample values, what can user utter while asking queries. So I can just put some sample values, okay, because I know I'm making a medical chatbot, so user will mostly ask about use medical terms and ask for their latest reports, or so on and so forth. So what is the status of my vitamin D? I want to know my latest recent or latest blood test report and all those things. So then this is what I give as a sample, and if you say here the confidence, it says 100, means it trains, the intent model trains this information, and next time when you give some similar information or ask some question, it will try to see, okay, this is something similar to what user query intent is, then it will take that, capture that information, and we go back. So what it will do is, it will in this case capture from that information what I say. Let's say I remember I was saying, get me my iron profile report, or get me my renal level test. So it pick up the entities, renal, iron, and that's what the name, profile test name, and that's what it will give it to the next block, which is understanding user intent. So once this understanding user intent is there, so let me show you what happens. So in this block I'm using AI, because here AI plays a major role. We are building a chatbot which is not a rule based, which is a understanding based. Now AI is capable enough to understand how and what user is saying, or in what context user is saying something. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm using AI model, data source AI model, and I'm telling you are helping users to answer their queries. User can ask questions specific to their so and so, and I'm also telling user can ask question general about their health profile, or they can ask something specific to their report. That's what I'm giving them, giving some kind of sample questions. Now I'm telling them your task is this, based on user query, which is the last utterance, because that's a variable it is used in last utterance, send your response as a user report, output as a user report if the question refers to data or finding from the recent health profile, health report, or you return general if it is related to some general question. And third option is, just say sorry, could not answer your query right now if the question is not related to personal health or medical report at all. Let's say somebody just come and start messaging, okay, I want to play a cricket with you, or I want to watch a movie, right? That's not this chatbot is supposed to answer, right? Then it will just respond, sorry, could not answer your query right now. So these are the things which you can write as a prompt or instruction to AI, and AI will do a very good job of segregating the information. And once you understand, okay, this one information which user is asking is about the report, then you switch to the flow, and that's exactly what is happening here. So you change the flow to personal report if the user is asking a personal report results, or if it's a general question, you go to the general question report. So these are the flows you can, and you can create a number of flows. You don't need to put it in a one canvas. You can have topics defined. Okay, this is my medical flow, this is my knowledge base, and you can have XYZ flows. And then all you can do is by linking. For example, when it comes here, you can just go ahead and tell action to take. So here I'm saying if user query intention, which is the variable I'm storing the outcome of AI, contains user report, then action is go to personal report intent. So these are all intents created. So start intent is by default, always you have a start intent, but other intents you have to create, and that's how you build this system. So this is all about that, and I want to know how do you like it, and if you have any question, let me know. This is the very basic chatbot, not complex, but these days people are making quite complex chatbots because of the multi-modal capabilities. Like you can ask question by uploading a video, you can ask question by uploading an image and say, okay, tell me, or generate an image, all those things are already possible. So these things are possible only because of the advancement in AI. And what you will see normally here, what you will see now in upcoming future is mostly all the chatbot or customer support migrating to chatbots, because this give you almost equivalent experience as you're talking to human. So we can get a this kind of chatbot build, deploy at scale, and there are no code tools. You don't have to write a code. I showed you I didn't write a code. I just gave an instruction, configured it, and just get it up and running. And I can use the button here, which I can show you here, a publish. Once I publish it, it will just ask me information, and it will say, give me the code snippet, which I can go and use it in a website, and it will be up and running. My website has after that chatbot up and running. So that easy it is for me to do it. Yes, there are other aspects of it which are like cost, usage, how much I will be incurring the cost in case I use it, or I have thousands of users using it every day. So those are the separate aspects which I'll be covering in another video by doing a comparison of couple of chatbots, building tools, and see what are the capabilities we get out of those tools, and what is the cost. At the end of the day, when it comes to AI, it is all about usage of tokens, means the information which I'm sending to a large language model, and in return I'm getting a response. So that number of tokens is the one which constitutes a cost. Plus, since you are using this whole system and deploying it on some infrastructure like AWS on GCP. So if I'm using Voiceflow, I think they use GCP or AWS to deploy it, but they have a plan, monthly plan, which you can use, and you pay monthly, or you can take it annually. Then this whole thing is covered. You can come back, edit it in, create new workflows, create new chatbots, and there's a limit, I think, as per the plan, how many chatbots you can create in that plan. But there is a fixed cost and there's a variable cost. So variable is how much interactions users are doing with the chatbot each day or each week or each month. So we'll consider all the data. I'll come back with another video on analysis, especially the cost factor of building this chatbot, because that's important for businesses to know before migrating to this kind of technology. So let me know how did you like this video, and if you need anything else, if you have any questions, you can put a comment and I will definitely respond to it. Thank you.